on Guam.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Lovin' It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Primetime, Nestor Lecanto joins us live with details about a bill creating a local war claims compensation program that was recently signed into law. Plus, empty store shelves and product shortages. What's the cause and how long is it expected? And the first phase of the Guam Department of Education's COVID screening plan is set to begin next Monday. These stories and more on Primetime.
Hafa day and good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah Devonzo, and thanks for tuning in to Guam's News Leader. The AG's office confirms that an autopsy was performed and completed over the weekend in an ongoing death investigation for Jaron Weilbacher. According to AG spokesperson Carlina Charfaris, the AG's office is reviewing the findings of the forensic autopsy and is reviewing all additional information provided to prosecutors. As required by law, the OAG must present its case to the grand jury or hold a preliminary hearing 10 days after a confined defendant is initially charged. Weilbacher died after an altercation that occurred in the early morning hours on Saturday, October 9th, outside King's Restaurant in Tamuning. Arrested were 31-year-old Fia Tagalua Aki, 22-year-old John M. Muliaga, and 36-year-old Joseph Decady. Muliaga was charged with aggravated assault, while Aki was charged with assault. Decady was booked and released for criminal facilitation. Following a magistrate's hearing last week, bail was set at $25,000 for Muliaga, while Aki was released on a $2,000 personal recognizance bond. Both are scheduled to appear before presiding Judge Alberto Lamarena this Thursday, October 21st, for a preliminary hearing. A bill creating a local war claims compensation program was signed into law by the governor. It provides another chance for claimants who missed out on the federal war reparations process. KUAM's Nestor Lecanto joins us live with the co-sponsor of the legislation, Senator James Moylan.
Thanks, Anna. I can't think of a more appropriate place to talk about a local war claims law than here at the Asan Bay Overlook War Memorial Wall. And I'm here with Senator James Moylan, who is one of the main co-sponsors of the bill. Senator, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Nestor. And I wish the sponsor of the bill, Vice Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes, could have been here, but unfortunately she's not. But I'm happy to answer your questions as a co-sponsor of this bill. Thank you.
Yeah, as I said, it establishes the local war claims fund. Tell us a little bit about the highlights of the bill and why you guys introduced it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, it was introduced by the speaker and myself, but during the public hearing, all of our colleagues unanimously voted to move this bill forward, and I'm so pleased that the governor decided also to make it a public law for us. In addition, this also is a recognition for our Congressman, Michael St. Nicholas, who was very instrumental in finally moving this bill forward and helping us with the reparations for the people of Guam. But really what it does, what the public law does, the original U.S. public law required that those that are eligible to file the claims have 1 year to file the claim. And as you know, that 1 year has since passed. But Vice Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes, after listening and hearing many people coming to her office, and I believe there's around 700 of those who wish they could file, were not able to file their claim. So this public law now opens the door back up again. It would allow the governor to come up with a plan within 30 days to present to the legislature, who also has the time to review, either adopt it or make adjustments to it. So I understand the governor is very anxious to get this moving, and I thank the governor for that. And we're looking forward to seeing this so we can finally have the means to pay those who were not able to submit their claims during that time frame to actually submit.
And as I understand it, this continues the trust fund, and that would be the source of the funding?
Absolutely, that's correct. It will come from that trust fund eventually, but the governor will initially pay out through the general fund and then reimburse through the Section 30 money.
All right, that's all the time we have for. Thanks to you, Senator Jim Moylan there, talking about the new law just signed by the governor, which established. Reporting live from the Assen Bay Overlook, I'm Nestor Lecanto. Back to you in the studio, Hannah.
Thanks, Nestor. Nestor Lecanto reporting live from the Assen War Memorial. Meanwhile, the governor also signed 2 other laws. One by Speaker Therese Terlahi lifts the cap on the penalties for violating erosion and sediment control regulations, such as the incident at Marbo Caves. The other by Senator Sabrina Perez establishes a new litter control revolving funds and increasing fines from $250 to $500. 3 Republican senators believe their bill is better than the Democrats' bill to assist the governor with her LEAP program. The Local Employers Assistance Program was established through an executive order signed by the governors last week. It pledges $25 million from American Rescue Plan funds to helping struggling businesses. Democrat Senator Amanda Shelton and Senator Joe San Augustine introduced legislation to match it for the total of $50 million to fund the program. GOP Senators Frank Blas Jr., Chris Duenas, and Tony Atta, however, believed the governor needs more flexibility and more funds. Their bill, referred to as the Protehi Ilanalata Act of 2021, provides $37.5 million. It would also increase the governor's transfer authority in the FY 2022 budget from 5 to 10%. Any product shortages on local grocery store shelves aren't because of shipping delays. That's the word from the head of Matson, who says any temporarily out-of-stock items are more the result of global supply chain disruptions. Here's more.
Matson's Bernie Valencia says their container vessels haven't been subject to the backlog of thousands of ships over the last 2 weeks at West Coast ports.
We have dedicated terminals. Matson ships come into our terminals. Our terminals only work Matson ships, so our ships come in and out of there into Long Beach and Oakland, into Hawaii and Guam on time almost all the time.
She says it's hard to say how full each arriving container is, but she believes due to global supply chain disruptions, local wholesalers and retailers may not be getting all the inventory they want.
It is true. The suppliers aren't necessarily filling all the orders. Someone might order 1,000 cases of Yoplait yogurt or whatever it might be, and they might only get a certain allocation.
Another factor is simply growing global demand.
A larger part of it is the congestion from Asia to Long Beach. There's been a surge in the consumer demand. A lot of people are spending more. A lot of people are ordering more stuff online. You know, when you speak to a lot of our customers, retailers and wholesalers, they tell you there's no shortage of turkeys or there's no shortage of other things going on in the States. It will come here whenever their suppliers can get it to them. So if there's any advice that they might tell you is if you do see it in the store, buy it, but you don't need to hoard, right? Just know that eventually no need to hoard and be scared because the ships will come every week on time.
Some early advice as we soon head into the holiday shopping season. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Former Guam Senator Will Castro, who is now the chief of staff for the CNMI governor, finds himself at the center of today's legislative hearing after the committee investigation, the administration spending votes to approve a subpoena for him. Thomas Mangletnia has the details.
Former Guam Senator Will Castro is today at the center of the legislative probe into CNMI Governor Ralph Torres's executive expenditures.
I'd like to offer a motion to issue a subpoena to Mr. Will Castro.
He now joins a long list of employees in the governor's circle called to testify at the legislature.
All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion carries to issue a subpoena for Mr. William Castro, Chief of Staff to the governor.
Will Castro's name appears on the governor's documents that we have, including reimbursement memos that the governor has sought reimbursement for. Also, in many of the governor's travels, his name appears on his travel, so that is what I can't divulge much information.
She says those documents range in time between 2015 and 2019. Babauta says Castro is being called to testify as a former sitting senator and not as the governor's chief of staff.
We have always discussed it as a committee. It's just that he wasn't physically present here. And our subpoena powers are limited to the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas.
They do not expect the administration's separate argument of testimonial immunity to shield Castro, as they expect to execute the subpoena next month. The committee convened Tuesday morning, waiting for the appearance of the governor's executive assistant, Frances de la Cruz, who, through an attorney, says she is immune from testimony because of her position.
We are not unreasonable. We are not uncompromising. This is democracy in action.
The committee agreed to allow de la Cruz to submit an affidavit in response to their subpoena. They're seeking information on travel policies, procedures, expenditures, contracts, inventory, and payments. Committee members say they may call her to testify in person if they aren't satisfied with the written response due on October 26. KUAM reached out to Castro and the Sinamay Governor's Office for comment. Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News on Saipan.
The Village Booster Clinics continue tomorrow at the Hoggett Gym. Not only will the vaccine and the booster shots be given, but COVID testing will be available as well. Hoggett Mayor Kevin Saswico.
Inside the gym, again, we'll be hosting the vaccination. And on the outer side of the gym, closer towards the Marshall A. Sablan, we'll be hosting testing, so that way it's not commingled. But most especially the seniors, those that have received your vaccination about 6 months ago, if you have not already scheduled for tomorrow, please do so by contacting either the Santa Rita Mayor's office or our office to try and get a slot for tomorrow. We do welcome everybody to come down, and it is on a first come first serve for those that may not have been able to schedule a time slot for them.
The clinic will run from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome, but appointments are highly encouraged. Vaccination cards and a valid ID are required to get the shot. A vaccination clinic spearheaded by Public Health and the Guam Army National Guard was held today at the Port Authority. Employees and members of the community had the chance to come out and receive their first and second doses of the vaccine or of the booster shot. Port General Manager Rory Respicio.
That you could see the flow is very professionally done. People are getting their booster shots, and so far so good. And we're happy to do this in conjunction with Port Week.
Currently, the port is at 99% vaccinated, with only 4 employees left to get vaccinated out of 363 individuals. Medical exemption forms are back with Public Health. As we reported so far, only 1 medical exemption form has been approved. Public Health PIO Janela Carrera gave KUAM the latest on how many medical exemptions have been approved or denied.
4 have been disapproved. 3 were returned to the employee that was seeking the exemption, just so that we can get additional information. So it just was missing certain information. And so once we receive more information from these 3 individuals, then they can be processed again.
Carrera added that changes to the medical exemption forms are underway.
We are in the process as well of updating the form for medical exemptions, and that will hopefully make the process for request a lot more smooth, because what it will do is it'll contain a little bit more information. But we are in the process of creating the draft for review here at our office. And so from there, it needs to go through a review process. So I would just say, hopefully sometime this week, it'll go through its final stages of review, and then we can issue that to the public.
As for religious exemption forms, they are still on hold. Once again, we invite you to voice your view on our social media with our daily question. Today we ask, where do you think the island's new state-of-the-art healthcare complex should be built? Let us know on our social media pages and we'll share responses on the link. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
When making the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, people asked how I felt about burger places selling fried chicken. I'd say that's none of my business. Just like making fried chicken is none of theirs. Get the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
we value relationships. Because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
we are in it for the long run. So you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you.
My name is Samantha Titano. So I'm actually the executive director of a nonprofit. So just people who are looking for a different pathway that's going to lead to a secure job, but isn't necessarily thought of as the traditional path. You know, there's a ton of opportunities on this island for the trades, lots of jobs available, and people are always hiring for them. And you can, you know, if you become a skilled and reliable worker, you can definitely move up in the construction industry here.
Yaman, reintroducing the Tuman pans with plenty rice. Every day of the week, Tuman Jamaican Grill has a special for you for $20. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays features jerk chicken and ribs. Thursdays, the sweet and tangy Jamango barbecue ribs. Friday, check out what we caught for you in our fried local catch. And finally, our weekend family platter is only $50. That's $9 off. Yaman, Tuman pans. Call to order 647-3000 or 4000. Yaman Jamaican Grill.
Yaman serious food.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back to Guam's Primetime. It appears that Dr. Judith Wonpat's last day as the Chief Executive Officer for Guahan's Academy Charter School was yesterday instead of November 3rd. KUAM's Isaiah Uggan reports.
Dr. Judith Wonpat has decided to leave Guahan Academy Charter School for personal reasons after serving as a Chief Executive Officer for 3 years.
You know that the COVID has really affected the instructional, the learning time for all children, so I was seeing this and hearing about it when teachers were sharing and parents sharing, but I really saw it firsthand with my grandson when, you know, he was online and he just, you know, just couldn't stay, you know, focused, and that is why, you know, we knew then that, you know, we need to get the kids back. I knew that too from my grandson, so he really had a very difficult time. And I figure, you know, all these years that I've been, you know, in school and in politics, I've always put children first. And my gosh, I have with my own grandson first, too.
Wonpat confirmed with KUAM News exclusively Monday that she turned in her resignation, making her last day Wednesday, November 3rd. But the GAC's board had a different plan.
Apparently, you know, it wasn't accepted because, you know, when I announced to the staff that I will then, you know, be leaving on November 3rd, and that was at about 2:30 when I met with the teachers, and then at 4 or 5, I get this email that basically, you know, said that there was going to be this meeting and an executive meeting to discuss my resignation and to do an exit interview, but further on it just basically said that, you know, I'm to turn in all GAC, you know, property and to disable, you know, my emails.
Wonpat said there are no hard feelings with the board's decision to make her last day Monday instead. Meanwhile, Senat Dominic Leon Guerrero, who is one of the Chamorro language and cultures teachers at the home of the Starfish, says Wonpat's resignation was a shock to all.
Me personally, it came as a surprise. Yeah, we weren't expecting it, but her reasons to, you know, move on, me personally, I respect it.
In Wonpat's 3-year tenure at the school, GAC's earned accreditation, received much needed learning equipment, materials, and supplies, and developed a COVID-19 safety and screening testing plan. She also created a spending budget plan for federal funds.
She hopped on board, steered us in the direction that, you know, that made us get accredited for sure.
Wampat made it clear that she will not be making her way to Adelup. She also said that she is not considering running for senator in the 37th Guam legislature. However, Wampat says she will continue to serve in the community as a board member of Victims Advocates Reaching Out, or VARO Guam. As we reported, Dean of Secondary Education Linda Hernandez Avila has been appointed as school principal by the GACS board. They are also in the process of hiring an assistant principal.
My final words to Dr. Wampat, like I said, Masi for all you've done for us here at Guam Academy. And Mayor Sinus continue to guide you and on your further endeavors.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Isaiah Ugam.
The Guam Department of Education plans to implement their first phase of the COVID-19 screening testing plan by next Monday. The first phase is for unvaccinated employees. Deputy Superintendent of Operations Erica Cruz says that guidance meetings are taking place on the plan of actions for COVID-19 testing for its employees.
And our division heads to provide them guidance on what to do. We currently have, I believe, 114 employees that have been trained to be tested. We also have 6 employees from our facilities and maintenance who have been trained by the Guam Memorial Hospital to dispose of the biohazard materials that will be coming out of our obviously of the test from the test kit.
Cruz noted that GDOE has enough test kits to begin the testing next week. COVID testing is an added layer of protection to spread of the virus on schools' campuses. As of last Wednesday, about 88.5% of GDOE employees are reported fully vaccinated against the virus. 5 p.m. was the deadline for public officials that filed for an extension to file their financial disclosure forms with the Guam Election Commission. Elected officials, those appointed by the governor and approved by the legislature, any chief executive of a GovGuam agency or department, and any GovGuam officials who has the authority to enter into contracts of procurement are required by law to file. This disclosure details assets, liabilities, and income statements for officials, their spouses, and dependent children. Santos said 130 filers asked for an extension. If the extension deadline is not met, the GEC shall report offending officials to the Attorney General's office for appropriate action. GEC staff is currently reviewing the list of those who have not filed. All of the financial disclosure forms filed with the GEC will be forwarded to the Guam Ethics Commission. Executive Director Jesse Kenga says the commission will serve more as a repository and will be used if needed.
So there is, I think, no particular idea that we would go in and audit that unless, of course, there is an ethics complaint filed against the official where now this financial report serves as evidence.
Kenga added that if there are differences in the report that don't add up, then action could be taken against the official. Tonight, Colin Powell is being remembered for his decades of service to his country, both in and out of uniform. The 84-year-old succumbed to the coronavirus this morning at Walter Reed Medical Center. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
Colin Powell is being remembered as a trailblazing diplomat and soldier.
He rose to the highest ranks not only in the military, but also in areas of foreign policy and statecraft.
On Monday, Powell died of complications from COVID-19 at the age of 84. Powell's family said he was fully vaccinated against the coronavirus, but had been fighting cancer for several years.
I feel as if I have a hole in my heart.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Powell was a mentor who paved the way for others.
First African-American chairman of the Joint Chiefs. First African-American Secretary of State. A man who was respected around the globe.
Flags at the White House and Pentagon were lowered in honor of Powell. On Capitol Hill, he was remembered as a unifying figure.
It's hard to imagine a more quintessentially American story. A son of Jamaican immigrants who learned Yiddish from his boyhood neighbors in the Bronx, becomes a 4-star general in the United States Army.
Powell's decades of service were not without controversy. In 2003, the then Secretary of State told the UN Security Council Saddam Hussein was hiding weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Every statement I make today is backed up by sources, solid sources.
Powell's assertions turned out to be based on faulty intelligence. He would later describe the speech as a black mark on his record that would never go away.
Skylar Henry reporting for KUAM News.
A bill to raise sanitary permit fees and the penalties for chronic sanitation violations breezed through a public hearing today. The new revenue will be used to hire much-needed health inspectors. Public Health Environmental Health Division Chief Tom Nadeau testified in strong support of Therese Terlahi's measures as it will help crack down on violators.
The passage of Bill 209-36 will build public confidence in the sanitary conditions of the businesses where they'll go to eat, get their hair cut, drop off their children, swim, and dry clean their clothes. And the proposed monetary penalty should deter businesses from operating without a sanitary permit, importing adulterated or mislabeled consumer commodities, and committing other unlawful acts that violate our environmental health laws.
The proposed new fee schedule would become effective in October of next year. More than 90% of the island's goods pass over the port stocks, meaning they have quite the job to do. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, it has remained 100% operational, providing goods and supplies to our island's community. Here's more. 1 week out of the year is dedicated to Port Authority employees to celebrate their hard work and their dedication. This year marks the 46th year of celebrating Port Week. General Manager Rory Respicio shares what Port Week is all about.
Generally, it's to also ask the community to recognize how the port employees go above and beyond, particularly during this pandemic, to stay 100% operational, to ensure that 90% of the goods coming into the island that come to the port are still on the shelves.
To further celebrate Port Week as a way of saying thank you to all the employees, a special lunch will be held later in the week.
What we're doing for our employees this year is we're going to have a lunch on Thursday, but even the lunch is going to be COVID compliant. The caterer is going to dish out the food, and we want to at least give our employees a meal, right? They always say when you celebrate, you break bread.
Respicio adds that members of the community will also have a chance to celebrate Port Week events virtually on Port Authority of Guam's Facebook page. Sports is up next with Dave Delgado. Keep it here. You're watching KUAM.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, where you get smart insights into your finances so you can make smart decisions with your money. With a daily personalized feed, you can compare your monthly income to spending. That's better. Discover where your money is actually going. You might be surprised. See what's essential and what isn't. The more you use the app, the smarter it gets. With insights from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
100% truck, 100% Jeep. Experience next-level off-roading on your new Jeep Gladiator, the most capable off-road midsize pickup truck crafted for adventure, equipped with best-in-class towing capacity, legendary 4x4 Jeep capability, and backed by Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive home in a 2021 Jeep Gladiator today, starting as low as $315 per paycheck during Jeep Adventure Days. Visit CarsPlusGuam.com to get pre-approved online today. Terms and conditions apply. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Taco Bell is so good and so cheap.
I know, right? I wonder why.
What if they know we're broke? What if they're trying to be the good guys?
Yeah. Thanks, Taco Bell!
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Gabe Baker from Carlson Gracie here to talk about the recent belt promotion. Carlson Gracie Jr. back on island for a short time, visiting the academies.
I think that was one for the books for the Carlson Gracie Guam. There's a bunch of us that got promoted. Myself, of course. I got a couple of my senior students that have been with me since 2003. We got guys like Cliff Netdog that runs the GGO Academy, Carlos Griffith, Ashley Pueblo, Chris Camacho, and one of my star athletes, Anthony Cruz. It was, the funny thing about it is that I was excited for myself. I mean, it was something that was already inevitable that I was gonna get promoted, and everybody knew that. But for me to get promoted with my students, I think that was the biggest. That was the biggest thing for me. It was really heartfelt, and I mean, it was emotional, man. I mean, these guys started with me since years ago, and to be there, to be promoted with them together, that was a big thing, man. That was really something for me.
With all the social media posts and everybody congratulating you, the number one thing that really stood out was long awaited, overdue, and stuff like that. But you being the guy you are, definitely humble. It wasn't something you were expecting, but it was something that, if it comes, it comes, and it was well deserving.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of people say that. I mean, one thing about me is I just keep tracking. I mean, I started the academy, opened the academy when I was a blue belt, and I just kept training with the guys and did what I needed to do. I never really thought about the belt. The belts just came, even my blue belt journey to purple. I was a blue belt for 6 years, so I never really thought about it, my belt made a difference, because I just did what I needed to do for the academy.
For you, enjoying your athletes and your students, being productive and progressing in the game and going out there and showing the sport to the world, because representing Carlson Gracie, I'm sure when he came back and he saw how many students and how the gym evolved, he was probably happy to see that.
Yeah, he was blown away. He was just like, here's this little island and we got all these people. I mean, you see some of the pictures on the post and stuff of the team that's combined with GGO and Nigua and Carlson Gracie and Nigua. And it was just, he was like, wow. He was just blown away. I mean, that didn't even include our kids. We have a huge kids program. So, it was just overwhelming. I mean, really awesome, man. Really awesome to see a big change.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
You are everything that matters to me, and I promise to do whatever it takes to keep you healthy, to be comfortable, and to be free. I love you. As long as we're together, I'll always make sure that home will always be our best place to breathe.
Half a day.
Hi.
That will be $20, please.
I forgot my Mobile Smiles Driver's Rewards card.
No worries. You can now use your registered mobile number to earn points.
Can I use my mobile number to redeem rewards?
Sure. Just show us your photo ID or driver's license.
That's easy.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
It is most definitely a happy birthday today for Donovan Kyla Toigui, and your shout-out says, and this one's awesome, screaming happy birthday to our boy Donovan. From the south to the north, have a blessed and wonderful birthday. Enjoy your special day. So in case you guys are wondering what that loud, happy, joyous screaming was from Humatak to GGO, that was Donovan's very proud family saying, we love you to the moon and back. Love your family. Awesome. Jocelyn Marie Tyron, happy birthday to you, coming from her two girls, Natalia Joy and Natasha Janae. And of course, her favorite mom, her Uncle Donald, and the family. They say, we love you and hope you have a blessed day. Sarah Titano, happy birthday number 8 to our unicorn princess. You are truly one of a kind. We love you so much. Say daddy, mommy, and Selena. Terilyn Rose Pinzon, happy birthday to my Terilyn, and enjoy your special day always from your families. And Jerry Duzan celebrates a birthday today. So Jerry, your loving family wishes you the very best.
Remember, you can be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo and your name and a birthday. That's going to do it for us here on Primetime. I'm Hannah Devonzo. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Alpha, everybody. I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani. Welcome to Health, Home, and Lifestyle. More than 1,000 Americans are still dying every day from COVID-19.